I've seen many presidents in my lifetime, and they all have their strengths. The one we have today has quite cleverly gotten 30 of our country's busiest CEOs to voluntarily work for him. I know this because I'm one of them. And as convener of the Private Secretary Advisory Council to the President, I have witnessed the ability of this man to bring together the best minds in business, use them to find real solutions to real problems, and then immediately implement them like he was flipping a switch.
The Philippines is a founding member of the United Nations, and I intend to strengthen this tradition of Philippine engagement with the UN. I expressed interest in enhancing our role in UN peacekeeping operations, especially in the areas such as the Middle East, where we have a large concentration of OFWs. I also extended an invitation to the Secretary General to visit the Philippines in the near future. During the conference in the United Nations, I also held formal and informal bilateral meetings with leaders of our key partners, such as the US, such as Japan, and I shared with them the priorities of the Philippines to work with them in addressing food and energy security and climate change, amongst other many issues. Our discussions were very productive, and the members of the Cabinet will now work to operationalize the many areas of cooperation that we identified. I met also with a number of business leaders from different US companies during the week, and all of them committed to be a part of our development and economic growth. Together, we will be working on addressing some of our key economic challenges, particularly, once again, climate change, food security, energy security, to name but a few. There will be, I believe, good news to share in the next few months, particularly in terms of their plans to expand and further broaden their investment footprint in our country. Our discussion with the U.S. business community affirms the optimism with which international investors view the Philippines today. I also delivered a keynote address at the New York Stock Exchange and at the Philippine economic briefings, which drew institutional investors, senior corporate executives, fund managers, and entrepreneurs. At these meetings, I shared with them our vision for the future and how important it was to address the key challenges that continue to constrain the development of our economy. I also informed them about how we intend to deal with some of the fundamental problems in our food, energy, and broader economic security. I also emphasized the importance of peace and stability in the region and the important role of great powers like the United States, so that developing countries like the Philippines can have the space to achieve growth potentials. It was thus an honor to ring the closing bell on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange at exactly 4 p.m. in the afternoon of September 19th. Our delegation also hosted 4 CEO roundtable discussions that dealt with key economic sectors such as IT BPM, digital infrastructure, global brands, particularly in garments and apparel, and, of course, industry and infrastructure. I was joined by the economic managers and other cabinet members in brainstorming with these U.S. companies, some already present and others intending to be in the Philippines. We identified the opportunities and challenges to our achieving our common objectives of growth and development in various areas. I thank them for their candid and constructive comments, and I look forward to working with them on the issues and agreements that we identified. My final stop before returning home last night was with the Asia Society, where I had a roundtable discussion with a select group of leaders of the U.S. business community on the state of the global and regional economy today. After the discussion, I delivered a public lecture where I shared my views on the opportunities, the threats, and challenges facing Asia, the United States, Asia-Pacific region, and all our neighboring countries today. I also spoke about my administration's priorities and plans for the next 6 years. And the engagement with the Asia Society was a fitting end to a week in the UN and the United States that had one singular message. The time to invest in the Philippines is no longer just sometime in the future. It is now. We in the Philippine delegation are one in our assessment that the work done in this trip serves as a good start for opportunities identified to be made into programs and projects to benefit the Philippines and our countrymen. And so the work continues, but I am happy to report that we have had a very good and strong start to our efforts. Thank you. And